What's up, you guys? I am so excited for today's guest. But before we get there, my name is Sarah Lacko, and this is the Inspired Vida Show. I've always been fascinated about people's stories and their hardship and how they've overcome those hardships, turning their pain into their power and sometimes their passion. The true underdogs. I super nerd out when it comes to the underdog. Who doesn't dig an underdog? I'm just saying. But a quick couple of things before I forget. One, subscribe to the show. I literally always forget that, but please press the subscribe button and subscribe to the show so you can hear all of these amazing humans' stories and how they've overcome their hardships. And I mean, you can honestly relate to all of these stories, if not most of them. And second thing, just telling my brain, is the sponsor for today's episode, which is the Badass Backpacking Babes. I'm so excited. We have our retreat coming up. Our annual retreat is completely booked out, which is super exciting. And I opened up a bonus retreat, which is August 5th through the 7th. And there's only 6 spots available. And now at this moment, there are only 4. So we teach you how to backpack, get out into nature, rewild, focus on your inner goals and yourself, but also do some badass backpacking, because nothing talks about self-sufficiency than having everything on your back and living out in the wilderness. It's great as far as coming away from society's busy go and just being out in the wild and just being and taking that moment to ourselves. So we teach you with a course, and then you can also come on our backpacking retreat. So without further ado, I'm very excited for today's guest. We've had such amazing conversations, and I'm like literally obsessed with her story. And so we're gonna just get into it. My friend, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Hi, my name is Ryta Lara, and I own Fresh Start LLC here in Casper. We specialize in cleaning and organizing. I'm the owner and co-creator of it, and I say co-creator because my mom helped me create this business before her passing.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I love what you do too, because I am not good at all, like with organizing and cleaning. Like it's not a strong suit for me. So having someone like you is just, it's great to have. And for me, like I just become so much more put together when someone comes and cleans my house and does all those things for me. And I'm like, oh, this is great.
For me too. I like when someone cleans my house too, because let's be honest, I clean everyone else's houses and organize. And so I need someone to come do that for me.
Truly. And sometimes too, like we're so busy with so many different things that like on my to-do list, it's one of the lower ones, which sometimes at some points I'm like, okay, this needs to get higher, and then I do it. But honestly, it's such a blessing to be able to purchase and something that you offer to really like help our home, but also like help our brains, because it helps my brain, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm all about it.
It's good for you.
Yes, it is. Do it.
Do it.
Do it. All right, friends. So we're going to jump into your story, and you have such a beautiful story, and I'm very excited to get into it. So tell us a little bit about your childhood. What did it look like growing up for you?
I grew up in a very loving and supportive home. Both of my parents were entrepreneurs. We took lots of road trips. We did lots of camping and fishing. Just playing outside, all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we were also a foster home for children with disabilities, which was a great experience. Not everyone gets to have that experience, and it's important. I feel that it's important to see, how should I say this? It's important to experience that, in my opinion, because we're all different, you know, and if you're not familiar with children or adults with disabilities, I find that people are kind of awkward with that. So
Absolutely. And no, I completely agree, because sometimes, I mean, we just don't know. And it's sometimes people don't know how to act or how to be accepting of someone of a disability, or even like recognize a disability.
Yeah.
And so to have that really is such an important thing, and it gives so much grace and understanding, which, I mean, just understanding anyone is a good thing. And I completely agree, understanding someone with a disability, I mean, what a gift at a young age, honestly.
Yes.
And so you mentioned that your parents were entrepreneurs. What did they do?
So my mom was one of 3 women in the state of Wyoming to help create the waiver for adults and children with disabilities. My dad owned a carpet cleaning business for 20 years, but he didn't start that until I was a little bit older. But he would bring me in to help clean offices and buildings and stuff at the age of 10 years old. It wasn't all the time, but it was here and there when I wanted to make some money. And then with this carpet cleaning business, we would go help him do bigger houses and sometimes restaurants late at night.
And your mom would help out with that business as well?
My mom helped out with the office cleanings and stuff like that, but by the time they had started the carpet cleaning business, my mom was already doing something different. So
got it. But she would help out along with you to do that. Cool. That's awesome. So, and we're gonna start to look into like one of your bigger hardships in life, because honestly, like throughout life, we go through these different hardships, right? And it looks different for everyone. And sometimes like with those hardships, like you come to this point and you're like, okay, I can grow, or I can just stay where I'm at. And you come to this other hardship or, you know, life struggle. And then you're like, I can stay here or I can grow. So with like one of your bigger hardships, right before that hardship happened, where were you, like mentally, physically, where were you, and what did that look like?
In mental space, we were growing. I was growing, thinking about growth, and working on starting a business. Physically, I don't really know. It was so long ago. You know what I mean?
In Casper, Wyoming. Yeah.
Oh, I get what you mean. Like physically here in Casper. I thought you meant like,
well, and just in general, like, yeah, like physically like located, or just getting like a good sense of like what that looked like.
Okay.
So, and then when that hardship, well, actually just walk us through like what happened. What was that hardship that happened?
So the same week my mom passed away, we had finalized our business. We had gotten insurance, came up with the name. We had been working together for a little while before we decided to finalize everything. I'm sorry,
and what was your business?
Cleaning and organizing, Fresh Start Cleaning. Yes. So that same week, she actually had a heart attack. And she was in the hospital for about a week, unconscious. And she passed away.
And so it had taken a week for her to pass on?
Well, they were doing like brain scans and, all the testing and everything to see like what had caused her heart attack and everything. But that whole time she was unconscious. I mean, she was basically gone already.
Mm. And so you said you had just started your business. When did you say you had just started your business before her heart attack had happened?
When was it?
Yes. Like how
So,
much before you guys, like you said, you got the insurance, how much before the heart attack had you just opened this business, or had you even opened it yet?
well, we had been working together for about 3 or 4 months already, cleaning homes. But the week she passed was actually would be this week 4 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah.
And that's what's okay, you guys. Like, side note, I reached out to her and was like, hey, would you want to be on the show? And it was just so interesting. So the time that this recording comes out is literally right the day that your mom passed. Is that correct?
June 13th. Yeah.
So crazy. And so for her to like share this story, and for with her business and being a year ago and on the anniversary, is just the universe is amazing, and how things align are crazy. And like, it's in tribute like of your mom too.
Yeah.
I think it's just beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's so crazy. And I am so sorry for your loss. Like, losing someone, and I'm assuming you must have been so close with your mom.
Yeah, she was my best friend. She was definitely my person. So yeah, even though we worked together all day, we still somehow managed to talk 50 times on the phone each day. I don't know.
Well, and too, to like go into business with someone, never mind your mom, like to go into business with them, like you really got to like them. And then to talk 50 times after that, that's impressive.
Yeah. So
that's very cool.
Thank you.
And like, losing someone that's really close to you is such a difficult thing, and a parent and a business co-owner, so there's like all these different things attached to it. What did that look like after losing your mom and dealing with that grief? Like, where were you mentally?
I went into a very dark place. There's lots of anger and sadness that comes with that. You don't have motivation for anything. I stayed in bed. I don't know how many days I stayed in bed. It was hard. It was really hard.
And two, like, there's different stages of grief, and sometimes we can stay in those stages longer than other stages, and just like working through them at different times. So there might be, I forget how many stages of grief there, it's like 7 or something like that. But people can work through those different forms of or stages of grief at different times, sometimes stay stuck in them. Was there one that you stayed stuck in for a longer amount of time, or had a harder time like working through?
I don't know what stage this would be called, because I don't know all the stages either, but it was just so hard to believe that she was gone. Like, obviously sadness stuck with me too, but it's so hard to, the world is still moving and everything is still going, and that person is gone, if that makes sense. Like,
absolutely.
You just want the world to stop with you when they left.
Well, it's almost like you expect it to, right? Like, I've had to deal with death in my family and immediate family, and I'm somewhat experiencing what you're talking right now, that just surrealness of, wow, this person is gone and everything is still like going, and the sun is still coming up and the moon is still coming up and going down. It's hard to think like that life keeps going, and sometimes it really does. It takes time to will go, wow, how are things still continuing?
Yeah,
So
nothing slows down, and you so badly want it to.
Well, and two, like what you said, like you were in bed for a few days. taking that time for us to slow down and kind of like absorb it is also a very difficult thing. Because it is a hard thing to accept as well.
And I will say, I'm not big on drinking alcohol. I used 2 years ago, you know, like being young and partying and doing all that and having that phase. But I feel like I spiraled into this where I was drinking more than I normally would. And the day of her funeral, I just lost my whole entire mind. You know what I mean? Like I just drank and drank and drank, and obviously that's not healthy. And you know, till this day, I kind of wonder why I chose to do that on that day. But it's just, it happened and I can't change it, and it is what it is.
Absolutely. And to like, you know, drinking alcohol is a coping mechanism. And it's a very socially accepted from what I see anyways, right? You celebrate, you have a drink. You're sad, you have a drink. You're happy, you have a drink. You're out with friends, you have a drink. So there's a very like a social acceptance to it. And you know, so that borderline too of like too much to like it gets blurred at times too. And it with it being a coping mechanism, you know, and socially accepted one until it's not, right? Then I mean so many people can relate to that, and maybe even relate to that on a regular basis even too.
Yeah.
So it totally makes sense. So after you lost your mom and you have this business, right? And you're working through your grief. Like, did you have thoughts of continue? Because that is what the business that you have now, is that correct?
Right. Yes.
Had you had thoughts of not going forward with the business?
I did have many thoughts about just quitting and not doing that, and not doing anything really, because that's how I felt. I just didn't want to do anything. So yeah, that crossed my mind quite a bit. But then it's also like, but she's watching you and she knows what you're doing. And you can't do that to yourself, and you can't do that to your kids, to your family. You know, there's a lot at stake when you choose to just quit something.
And something that you had worked hard for.
Yeah.
And both of you.
Yeah, both of us.
And it very much makes sense, you know, having to go through a really difficult thing and then contemplating like, can I even do this? Do I even want to do this now? Like, what does this even look like? Like all the thoughts, and then still working through the grief at the same time. That's a lot to take on.
Can I do this by myself? You know, I mean, she had clients that she had built relationships with that I didn't even know, you know what I mean, that I was getting to know. And so, yeah.
And you kind of touched on it. What did make you go for it? What did make you to have that decision to say, I'm going to continue with this and I'm going to keep going?
Well, I always knew from a young age that I wanted to work for myself. I hated working for other people. I can't even tell you how many jobs I've had from a young age until I started this business. But there was that, and then you know, it's just really sentimental, and it obviously was the better choice. You know, I just felt that it was the right thing to do, even though I had my doubts. And, you know, I feel like the sadness was trying to overcome that a little bit, you know, that kind of was making me sway towards not doing it. But, you know, just a lot of different things, my kids, myself, I knew that I could have a flexible schedule, dropping my kids off and picking them up from school. I've been able to do that their entire lives, and that's truly a blessing. You know, just making my mom proud from up above. So
Absolutely. Because when we had talked on the phone, like prior to this, because I've lost my dad at 16, and I lost my brother just in January. And we talked about how, like, even when they're gone, they're not here on earth with us, like, technically anymore, but they are still with us, and they show us signs, and they let us know that they're here and helping us, and even doing things to, like, align us. And honestly, like, I'm all about signs, and I just think it's so insanely beautiful how, like, you're on the show. This is coming out on the day of your mom's anniversary. You did stick with it. So many beautiful things have come from it. And so, like, for anyone that's struggling with grief, like, just look for those signs, and they're still around. It's just in a different way.
yeah, she has given me so many signs over the years, and it's really beautiful. I obviously took some of her clothes and some of her belongings, and one of those things that I took was her jean jacket that she always wore to work, and she always had a hair clip to it, because she would, like, spin her hair up and clip it when she was getting ready to work. And so I got that jacket embroidered with our business name on it. And when I took it in, the lady had told me that it would be ready to pick up April 1st, which is my mom's birthday. So that was another sign. Just so many things. This recent house that I did a move out clean on, around this same time, we just finished painting and cleaning it. And so when I had pulled up, I knew the address sounded familiar, but when I had pulled up, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy. And then, of course, you asking me to be on the show, and when you said that the date, when it would be aired was the 13th. So just so many things. She comes to me in my dreams here and there. So she's constantly guiding me.
Goosebumps too. Like, yeah, there's so many different ways that she's just showing you that she's with you, and all of us, too. It's a matter of, like, paying attention to those signs and, like, connecting the dots too. Just because they have to talk to us in a different way now. So what helped you, like, along your way to get you through that hardship? I mean, and I would like to be very clear, like, for everyone, and literally everyone on the show too, like, you have these hardships, and it's not like the movies where it's like, oh yeah, better now, everything's fine, like, I don't need to work through anything. Like, it's a continuous journey of working through it and growing through it and moving through it and honoring it, like, just all these things, right? So but what did help you, like, during that time to start to, like, move through it and go through this difficult thing while, trying to build a business?
Honestly, as cliche as it sounds, but it's really true. It was just really a day by day thing. I never knew how I was going to wake up feeling, or if I was going to be angry or sad. But each day when I woke up, I just told myself that today is going to be better. There were some days where I literally just went throughout the day, and at the end of it, I'm like, I don't even know how I got through the day. But being surrounded with friends and family, and talking about her memories and just stuff like that is really what got me through it. I mean, it's still hard, but not as hard as it was.
Yeah, time does help.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it easy, but it helps to get it to start to move through that. Yeah, I love what you say. And two, I have this saying of like failing forward, right? Just putting one step in, one foot in front of the other and one step at a time, because sometimes when you're looking at like the whole big picture, it is extremely overwhelming. And we can just shut down from it. I mean, I'm one of those people that, and when I'm in that state of overwhelm, I can very much just shut down. And with just failing forward and saying like, this might not look perfect, this might not be pretty, but I'm just going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to keep going through this, and I'm going to just keep failing forward. And failure, honestly, like failure is just if you quit something, right? But if you, and sometimes we have to chalk something up to a failure and be like, you know what, this isn't good for me, I just need to let that go. But really just to just keep moving through it is where it's at. And just to keep, I love the quote of, the 1,000-mile journey begins with a single step. And that's essentially like what you did. And even to go through the day and say, I don't even know how I got through the day right now, because I'm struggling. And but also, like, did you give yourself some time to kind of like decompress and to feel things and to work through things?
I did. I took probably a good month off. And I even called in some days where I just couldn't do it, and I did lose clients because of it. And I, but that is okay, because what matters most was my mental health and being there for my kids, because obviously that was a huge loss for them too. I did. So if I woke up and I just felt like I couldn't do it, I just didn't go to work.
Love it. I'm obsessed.
Because you have to work through those feelings. I mean, you can't bottle them up.
And when you suppress those things and you're like, don't deal with it, just push it down, it manifests into this ugly monster. And it's just because like we haven't let ourselves feel our feelings. Like I always say, like, feel your feels. But truly, like, it's so important. And even for you to like call out and potentially lose clients, like that must have been hard. But yes, your mental health and anyone's mental health is way more important. And if anything, like, you'll be stronger from it, you'll be better from it, you'll be able to show up better.
I was just going to say that. There were some days where I knew I wasn't showing up 100% and doing the best of my ability, and I didn't like that feeling, so I knew that like the days that I was like, no, I can't do this. Or there were some days where I was like, I don't know what the F I'm doing, but here I am.
Right. Absolutely. Right. And sometimes we just have to show up and go through it. But then sometimes it's like, okay, I really need a moment.
Yeah.
I really need a break. And I really, just like, I need to step away. And that's okay.
And people want to talk to you about it too. People want to talk about how she passed away and how you're doing and how the kids are doing. And it's like, obviously our clients, but she was closer with them than I was. They just really wanted to talk about her. And I was at a point where I didn't want to, because I just wanted to show up and work and leave, so that was hard too.
And two, like, you're literally just like surviving through it at that moment.
Yeah.
And everybody like shows up differently too. Like sometimes when we don't know how to talk to someone who's lost someone, or we don't know what to say, and all these different things come into play. But sometimes just asking that person, like, hey, do you want to talk about it, or do you want a hug, or do you just want to like get what you need to get done and not talk about it? Like, I honor wherever you're at, right? And that person once you give them that permission, will tell you what they need, because you just open that up to them, and then that just makes them feel better too.
I used to get so like pissed when someone would be like, oh, well, she's in a better place. And I'm like, is she? Is she in a better place? Because she's not with her children. She's not with her grandchildren. She's not with us. Like, is she really in a better place? That comment used to just piss me off. I just wanted to be like, shut the hell up.
Yeah, that is not a great response. I'm not gonna lie.
But you would not believe how many times I heard that.
Really?
Yes, it is insane. And I get that, like you said, people don't know how to react, or they don't know what to say. So maybe that's just like something that they're like, falls out of their mouth. I don't know. Either way, I hate that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Well, yeah, no, I love how you just said taking it day by day, because it's so true. And regardless of like what we're going through, it just some days through some hardships, that's all you can do, and that's okay. And just keep taking it day by day, sometimes hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute, like whatever that looks like, just take it, and that's okay. So how did this difficult thing that you went through, how did it eventually like help you to propel you to do better, and to start to come out of part of that grief?
I just seen what was coming from it, building my clientele, being able to provide, being able to do things that I wouldn't be able to normally afford, and what I do is really rewarding too. I love making people happy. I love changing their space or making their space comfortable, relaxing, just those things.
And it's such like a physical thing too. Like you get to see a space, and then you just get to make it like that space beautiful. And then you get to see how happy that person is from, helping make that like comfortable space for them too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's fun.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I like being that person on the other side where it's, I'm like, yeah, I like this. I feel good. So tell me, like, from what you've gone through, what successes and accomplishments have you seen? And that can be through your business, that can be through you, how you show up every day. What accomplishments and successes have you seen that, going through this really difficult thing translated into your life?
Learning how to run a business all around. I mean, that in itself is very, very difficult. And I know, what I'm talking about. I'm still learning and still growing with that. I think there will never, because things evolve and change, and so that's never ending. Last year or this year, I made 3 times what I made last year. And that is just huge. And I knew that I had made significantly more, but when I had it down on paper, I was like, holy shit, I did that. Like, I did that. And also providing jobs for people too is
badass.
Is badass. There's a challenge that comes with it, but it is very badass too. So
that is so cool. And too, like, you were creating this business with your mom, right?
Mhm.
And we can very much like rely on someone else um to help us like have confidence, to help like as far as like with your mom and the business, you know, she had all these clientele that you didn't necessarily didn't know, you know, and so you can become like dependent on that other person. Was there an aspect with that as well that you had to kind of like work through? And because now you're like, okay, now I was going to do this with someone and have a partner in this, and now it's me.
Oh my gosh. So my mom was just such a intelligent woman. She was just business savvy. I mean, smart. She knew how to do anything and everything. And so I would say there were more times than not where I was like, oh my God, like I have to learn how to do this. How am I going to do this? You know, she had created this like giant invoice proposal thing for a business before she had passed away. And I had remembered that she saved it on her computer. And so I had got asked to do one for something completely different. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. Like, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. And so I got into her computer and basically copied what she had done. You know what I mean? So yeah, she was just so smart. And I had to learn basically everything because she, you know, obviously she had many years on me. My mom experienced many things, worked many different jobs, you know, so.
Well, and from that too, was there a sense of like empowerment? Like, obviously, that would be scary moving through that because you're like, okay, this person, they knew so much and they were a huge part of this, like not
Mhm,
just your mom, but you know, she was a huge part of your business.
mhm,
But then to have to go through this and then to be and have to figure it out, right? Fail
yeah,
forward. Um, what did that feel like? Like empowering, like
of course. Yeah, definitely empowerment. And still till this day, I'm like, I'll do things and I'll be like, I did that. I learned
mm,
that, you know, yeah, she is super proud.
oh my gosh, I can only imagine how proud she is. Honestly, just watching you do this and go through this and you know make this happen and then 3 times as much, like she's just with you through this whole process and through all of
Yes.
it.
Hmm.
So damn beautiful, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. Honestly, it's really difficult thing to lose someone. It's a really difficult thing to be vulnerable. It's a really difficult thing to like talk about these things like in an interview, right? Like
Yeah.
these are not easy things. So like for you to share your story and share your experience and what you had to go through and overcome, there's so many people that can relate to it. I can relate to it. And there might be different aspects too that people can relate to and bring some understanding and awareness to as well. But we're coming up to our wrap up question, and I love this question. So, based on your hardships and your successes, how do you think we can do better? Maybe do better as an individual, do better as a community, do better as a society, or all of them. How do you think we can do better?
I think that we can do better by just being better human beings. Stop judging and criticizing and being so full of hate. You know, our world needs so much love right now. And I just feel like it starts with us individually. Just let people be who they want to be, accept people for who they are. And, you know, when people tell you who they are, you need to believe that.
Love it. Absolutely. Well, and two, like starting, you know, with that as an individual, it ripples out to your community. It
Mm-hmm.
ripples out into society. Um, I, I really, I love what you offer us as what we can focus on being love. Because I think it is something that we really have gotten away from.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we're just starting to really come around to it. We're just seeing so much of the ugliness of hate, right? And it's just becoming louder, essentially. So I think it is such a beautiful thing to focus on. And then I am #obsessed with how what you say, like, listen to people on who they say they are. A lot of times we don't, right? We're just like, and it can be in a friendship, it can be in a romantic relationship, it can look so many different ways, but people do start to show you or tell you who you are or who they are. It's important to, like, listen to that, see that, and say, is this something that I am aligned with? Is this something that I want as a friendship or as a partner? Really start to, like, reflect on those things, on what people are telling you who you are or who they are and what they need and what they want, because you might not be listening and just, I don't know about you, but in the past I've been like, that person's just struggling, and we are, right? But do I let someone treat me in a bad way based off of, me excusing it? Is that okay? No, it's not.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of that happens. You know, accepting people for who they are, stops at that toxic behavior or, negativity. Because we have to set boundaries for that type of stuff.
Absolutely. And for you to listen to what that person's telling you about who they are, yes, then having boundaries based off that, because maybe that then, based off of those boundaries, that relationship just looks a little bit different, but you're taking care of yourself, and being good and compassionate to you as well. So yes. I love it. I love your, what we should focus on. I wanted to thank you so much for being on the show. Just talking to you at different times and, like, listening to your signs that you've, like, shared with me previously and now you shared with us now, like, truly, like, goosebumps. And just what you've gone through and overcome, and just in a year's time, that is literally such a big deal. And kudos to you, because I mean, for me, like, I was younger and I just lived in a stage of not good grief, to be honest. It was like anger. I was stuck in the anger stage of grief for 10 years. Okay. And that's okay. Like, I forgive myself and I move on from that. But for you, and I know you're still working through it, because I mean, it's been 23 years for me, and it's still something I work through and I honor. But as time goes on, it can be easier, but it doesn't make it easy. So I just want to honestly commend you for, taking it day by day and taking it hour by hour and minute by minute. And it shows us, like, what we can overcome and what we can go through and work through and how we can come out on the other side of that, honestly.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. And I'm so excited that I reached out to you, and I'm so excited that it comes out on your mom's anniversary. Just too. A huge tribute to her, honestly.
Yes.
She raised a beautiful daughter.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. All right, you guys. Oh, before I forget, where can everyone connect with you?
So my business page on Facebook is Fresh Start LLC. And then you can find me on Instagram, Fresh Start Cleaning.
Excellent. And we will, you know, have all those links to her handles and how you can get in contact with her and how she can make your house beautiful here in Casper, Wyoming. So sorry to everyone else throughout the US. But I mean, maybe she's willing to fly. I don't know.
Yes.
Oh, she said yes. I'm just saying. I'm just
That would be
saying.
amazing.
That would be cool, right?
Yes.
You're like, hey, I'll send you my private jet. It's coming your way. Okay.
Yeah. I'll clean all those huts on the ocean in Bora Bora. Hey.
Stop. Let me come work for you if that happens, okay? I'm gonna
Right?
work for you on
Oh,
that side.
I'll have to hire a whole team.
I'll get good at cleaning for other people, not for me.
Okay.
Love it.
Sounds good.
So yes, so those links will be in the show below. But again, thank you so much and for sharing your story with us, and thank you for listening and joining along and following along, and just remember to subscribe and follow the journey of other people and me and on just all these really like beautiful true stories of these underdogs who have gone through difficult things and made beautiful things from those things. So anyways, you guys, talk to you later, but much love, good vibes, and I'll see you later. Bye, you guys. See ya.
Bye.